Greetings and salutations, audience. It's Mixed Game Mike here for another episode of Ace in the Window. Today we're at the Rio All Suites Hotel and Casino, home of the 50th anniversary World Series of Poker.
10% up to $5.
Yeah.
Most pots being over $50. So they were being charged $12 per person per half hour.
Mm-hmm.
Time rate.
Yeah.
Because it's the King's Room. That's just what they charge there. They also had a buffet available for the players of the King's Room.
If you're playing small ball poker and still getting to take advantage of all the King's Room stuff, again, for those kind of watching,
it kind of surprised a few players, but at the same time they adjust to it and they go, well, that's just the price for playing cash today during the Big 50 when all the space is taken up. That's just what you have to do. So.
But that is cool. For anybody that's not familiar, having the buffet.
Yeah.
My general understanding from the players last night is that all the food in there is top notch. So it's not like you're just getting some regular cheap buffet. It's all really good stuff. So. But
that's what I've been hearing too. So that's my only experience there. I haven't done the regular games because even though they had some of the normal high limit games, the 75-150 stud. And 75-150 Omaha 8 or better were going that day. Mm-hmm. I just didn't cycle through those tables.
Yeah.
So
I got to deal with the dealer's choice in there last night.
Cool.
And I find those players generally are the nicest players.
Mm-hmm.
When you're going through the boards and there's all these games.
What was a strange, interesting game?
I didn't
ran into.
necessarily deal any of them, but I'm looking at the placards and we're going through them, and you're talking about Raz Ducey and
sure, yeah,
all this stuff. I think I'm pretty familiar with poker and know most of the names. Your Archies, your Baducey, whatever. But then you start getting into these super games, whatever you want to call them, with the Raz Ducey, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah, no,
we get in some deep water here.
The names can be kind of confusing, but what you have to consider when you're looking at that is that they've taken a game like Badesi or Badusi and they've said, hey, let's make that a stud game.
Mm-hmm.
And there you go, Raz Ducey, Raz Daisy.
Yeah.
So. And
it can be kind of intimidating, but most of those players, like I said, are super nice. And for the most part, you're still doing the same thing. You're just like, all right, so am I still dealing 5 cards, or just how am I dealing it? And that's kind of the biggest component is, all right, you're still dealing 5 cards and drawing. It's just,
hey, I was at one of the mixed games and a cash game, and it was time for super stud, and I saw a stud. I didn't see the super, and I dealt 2 cards and flipped one over, and they said, oh, you're supposed to do a 4 down. And then one up. I was like, but that's okay. You can just deal the next 2 down. I'm like, well, that'll work. That's
the same thing that happened to me last night.
That's fine. That'll work. Didn't notice the super part. My bad. The next hands after that, we got 4 cards down and then 1 up. Fine.
Yeah. So. I did the same thing last night, and that was just, I tried to clarify first because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, so we got, someone pulled the super stud placard. I'm like, all right, does this deal the same as stud? Yeah. No one fixed me.
Right.
So I'm 2 down, 1 up.
Right.
And then, no, it's supposed to be 4 down, 1 up. But okay, just deal the next 2 down.
Deal the next 2 down.
Oh, well, that's why I asked. But it's all good.
If you dig through the rules, the correction for accidentally flipping up is just to give the rest down.
Yeah.
Not really a big deal.
Yeah.
It's
that's my general understanding.
It's a minor flag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing end of the night last night, my last table was a stud game, and you're getting a little fatigued. I've been there since technically 4:30, and now it's 2:30 in the morning, something like that. So I accidentally flipped the last card up.
Oh, so yeah.
My understanding of that procedure is the same thing. You put all of them up. If one goes up, they all have to go up. Because I made that mistake in my audition as well, and when I made the floor call in the audition, that's just like, all right, now they got to go all up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my biggest faux pas when I was doing the 1500 stud game was, and this was after dealing several hands. I had gotten that good for several hands, and then, I don't know, for some reason, 2 guys were heads up, and I dealt 7th Street straight up on the board, and there's that fifth card up going, and the players are like, I think that was supposed to be down. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, I was absolutely embarrassed. I felt absolutely terrible that I had done something like that. Anyway, we called the floor where he said that's fine. Play just continues. The players said it didn't really matter because the last card didn't happen to change anything in that case. Obviously, it's a mistake that shouldn't happen, but in this case, it was a low impact mistake. So,
I mean, that's the biggest thing that I don't know if players fully understand is that when you get used to dealing any one game, whether it's PLO or a flop game, then you go to a stud game, you're so conditioned to do the same thing over and over again.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you go to a stud and you got to do something different, and your muscle memory wants to do one thing, and you just have to kind of fight and override it.
Oh man! So this was interesting. Last night, it was part of the 8-game mix, and it was deuce to 7 triple draw, right? Mm-hmm. So you draw cards, and if you're not sure, the process, the official procedure at the World Series of Poker, when you draw cards after players declare, right, is you deal off you deal off the deck, just like you're putting out a flop. One card, and then push it to them and pull back theirs, right? So someone drew 3, so I went whack, whack, whack. And it sounded like I was going to put out a flop, obviously, because that's a normal kind of thing you do when you're about to flip a flop over. And they're like, whoa, don't do it. And I was like, well, he drew 3, so, but I've had that happen before myself in a draw game where a dealer just puts out a flop. And you're like, it's a draw game, so let's call the floor and see what to do with those cards, because, so I totally understood the player's concern. I was like, don't worry, sir. He drew 3. It's fine. Everything's good. So, but I certainly understand their concern because I've had it happen plenty of times.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. Technically, they want us to do the put the push pull.
Yeah.
But I've generally found that the players prefer
a lot of the players have requested it. Yeah, that's true.
So I kind of go by and that's what the floors have kind of conferred to me as well. Is just like if you're just make the players happy. Yeah. If the players want to be pitched, pitch it to them. Just don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up.
Right? Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, if the players ask for it, that's fine. We'll just pitch it to you. It's no problem at all. But every time we push it on a table, that's back to the default of push pull, and then if they ask, okay, no problem.
Gotcha.
We'll just switch.
I've kind of gone just to pitching unless someone says something to me otherwise. So again, to me, that seems to be like the default method that makes them happy. I've seen every table seems to have preferences as far as that goes. It's interesting, kind of the culture that you get when you change tables. Like one table, super nice, super helpful. Next table, just everyone will be grumpy or whatever. Interesting.
Cool.
To me, at least.
Well, that's it for this show, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you liked it. If you did, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and tell us what you thought down below in the comments. Bye now.